They ruined Avatar: The Last Airbender. Okay, I'm actually really mad. Avatar is like one of my favorite shows of all time as a kid and even as an adult now. It's one of the absolute GOATs. It is the least offensive, least problematic show ever created with plenty of strong male and female characters as well. But it wasn't woke enough for Netflix because Netflix is the king of woke and will try to ruin absolutely everything. Here's a tweet by Variety saying Netflix's live-action Avatar: The Last Airbender series is toning down the sexism. We took out the element of how sexist Sokka was. I feel like there were a lot of moments in the original show that were iffy. Yeah, totally. There are things that were redirected just because it might play a little differently in live action. Okay, first of all, what are you talking about? Sokka was barely sexist in the show, let's be real. He had a few lines of like childish sexism here and there, like girls aren't supposed to be warriors, but then that was part of his whole character development arc. The reason he started off like that was because they wanted to show how he grew into a real man. If you don't know Avatar or don't know Sokka's backstory here, basically his mother was actually killed in a Fire Nation raid and he was left as the sole man to take care of everybody, which is why he developed this sort of sexist personality as a sort of trauma response. Basically, he had this whole arc where he underestimated this girl named Suki, who was a Kyoshi warrior. Now, if you don't know Kyoshi warriors, they're just these really badass female warriors. And later on, Sokka did actually realize that she was completely badass, and he realized that, hey, it's not actually cool to be sexist. And there's a certain scene in the show where he actually kneels before the Kyoshi warriors, including Suki, and then he begs them to teach him combat. I don't know about you, that doesn't sound sexist at all. In fact, they even end up becoming boyfriend and girlfriend, so obviously, she doesn't hate him or anything like that. This is not a good change. Sokka being wrong about his views on women and having why he's wrong be demonstrated to him and learning and growing as a person was the whole point. It's literally a part of his character arc that Sokka learns how stupid his sexist views are, where he begs the Kyoshi warriors to teach him. Exactly. This show is gonna suck. So here is Sokka approaching Suki and the Kyoshi warriors over here, and he's apologizing for being rude earlier, and then he begs, hey, please teach me your awesome combat ways. He puts on the robe, that's a clear sign of respect there, despite the fact that it's definitely a girly robe there. But yeah, the Aang makes fun of him a little bit for wearing a dress. Classic Avatar humor. I could write a 2-hour-long video essay on why Sokka's sexism was important to his character arc. Growing and accepting the powerful women in his life was a major plot point for him. From the beginning of meeting the Kyoshi to watching his sister become a master bender. 79k likes. Jesus Christ, people are pissed. Damn, studios are terrified to even have character development now. It's so over. Honestly, I'm so tired. Like, I will watch a new show on Netflix or something like that, right? And I'll be happy. I'll be watching this, and then randomly they'll insert some absolute just woke garbage there. And I'm not a fan of that word, but there's nothing else to describe it at this point. It's just comes out of left field, punches you in the face like, hey, I'm literally only here to ruin the show, add some victim plot points here, and make everybody feel uncomfortable. It is crazy. This is pushing some random agenda that nobody cares about. Literally nobody. This is so unnecessary and very disappointing to hear. If it was good enough and okay for children to understand in a Nickelodeon animated show, then why the hell would it be bad to just translate the source material in live action? Well, because kids back in the day were apparently too hardened, and all kids were racist and sexist, so obviously. Now everyone's a little pansy, so they can't even take a little bit. It's not even a sexist show. That's what I don't get. Like, the purpose of the sexism is to show that it's wrong. Like, can you not even talk about how something is wrong? That is crazy. It explores those themes, and it does it in a way that is not obnoxious, and it does it in a way that makes all the characters absolutely lovable and awesome, Okay, so it turns out after this, the original creators actually ended up leaving the show. So they were supposed to be, directing it, sort of guiding their way through the show to make sure it is reliable and, loyal to the original source material. But I can see why the Avatar creators left the show, probably because now they didn't give any official actual reasons, but it's probably due to shit like this when you're changing the entire story. Like, if you remove the flaws of the character, where is the story? It's like making Zuko good from the beginning. Like, if you've watched the show, Zuko is like a crown prince of the Fire Nation or whatever, and he's always torn apart. He wants to capture the Avatar. He wants to be a bad guy. But throughout the journey, he sees that the Avatar and his friends are actually good people, and he starts to learn about how to be a good person, especially from his uncle Iroh, who's another absolutely amazing character. That's the same thing. If you remove the sexism from Sokka, then his character just becomes way worse, you know, because he's not going through that personal growth. Oh boy, I sure love bland as bread characters with no flaws to overcome. Those definitely are the iconic ones who stay with people for years to come. True, actually. Netflix talks them out. This probably summarizes the situation. Netflix's live-action Avatar series took out how sexist Sokka was in the original. A lot of the moments in the animated show were iffy. That's crazy. Imagine thinking Avatar was an iffy show, dude. With this sort of logic, you could argue that even SpongeBob SquarePants is sexist and just a hateful show or something. Because, like, they had plenty of episodes where they're just dunking on Sandy. What about that entire episode where they're making fun of Texas? You're gonna call them racist for that? As Entertainment Weekly notes, there are entire Reddit threads about Sokka's sexism, discussing how the original Sokka, prior to his character journey, would make remarks like, girls are better at fixing pants than guys, and guys are better at hunting and fighting. That's because of the way he grew up. Jesus Christ, we are all imperfect human beings. The way we grew up largely influences how we act. For example, if you got your heart broken by a woman or something, you might think all women suck, all women are evil, whatever. And then you go through the years of your life, and then you meet a very sweet girl who changes your life forever. And then you realize, hey, my initial view here was wrong or something, right? That was the most dumbed down version of it. But everybody has that sort of dynamic in some aspect of their lives, whether it be a relationship with your father, your mother, your friends. And, unraveling that is the journey of life, where you sort of get better every day. You sort of become more aware of yourself, and you start to realize that, hey, things are not always black and white. Sokka's sexism won't be the only difference Avatar fans see in Netflix's Last Airbender. Showrunner Albert Kim previously said the show does not begin in the same way the animated series does. The live-action series will also show the genocide of the Airbender people and the rise of the Fire Nation, which is only alluded to the animated series. Dude, if you're making a remake of one of the most beloved shows of all time, why would you not just stick to it? Like, why would you possibly change the way it was presented? Like, I don't think there's a single way the show could have possibly been written better. Like, it's such a absolute masterpiece, dude. Avatar: The Last Airbender creators Brian and Michael spent 2 years developing the live-action adaptation for Netflix before they shocked fans by announcing their exit due to creative differences. Let's freaking go. Now, this is awesome, okay? Which left Kim as the sole showrunner. He recently told Entertainment Weekly that it was absolutely daunting to stick with the show without them. Well, maybe don't be such a bitch and change everything then. If you want to stay loyal to the fans who love the show, like, you wouldn't be changing things around here, dude. Like, the whole point is you have to start off as imperfect. Okay, if everybody, like in real life in general, like if you started off as a perfect human being, imagine how boring your life is. What's the point of getting up every day if you're not working towards something? Like, goals are kind of what makes life a thing, you know? You're working towards something, you're getting better every day, you're trying your best. Like, what the hell is the point if all the flaws are just cut off at the very beginning? You'd have to be an idiot not to be intimidated a little bit, Kim said. My first reaction after hell yeah was, holy shit, do I really want to do this? Is there a way to improve upon the original? There probably is, but you will not find it, okay? If these are the creative decisions you're making, you will absolutely not find it. I will not be watching, or maybe I will hate watch, okay? I'll probably be hate watching. Okay, so I also wanted to talk about this Reddit post here, which discusses Sokka's sexism over here, and they explain it in a very nice way here. Number one, Sokka is barely ever sexist, has a total of about 20.5 hours of screen time. During that, he displays a sexist attitude, a combined total of about 4 minutes. You could argue a little more or less, depending on how you view things, like his dismissal of Katara's goofy magic powers, but roughly 4 minutes works well enough for this example. For the sake of those against a Netflix change, let's round that all the way up to 10 minutes. Number two, Sokka never witnessed female warriors. Sokka's mother was killed when he was very young enough that he had trouble remembering her face. By the time of her death, there weren't any waterbenders left. Despite knowing that Hama that the benders of both genders used to fight, Sokka only witnessed the male warriors, namely his father, in any kind of combat role during his formative years. Number 3, Sokka's sexism is a trauma response. Sokka is a boy, he grew up too fast, who lost his mother, and in some ways his father, and was burdened, intentionally or not, with the idea that he's the only one left to protect his sister, the entire tribe. In conclusion, the fact that Sokka turns on a dime without a single look back in the course of a day shows that Sokka didn't have a deep-seated, real sexist beliefs. He was just a traumatized child, spouting the misguided, misinformed observations that he'd been given throughout his childhood. TLDR, Sokka isn't that sexist, and only even was for less than 1% of the show. Honestly, when you start changing up the stories and stuff, I feel like the resulting new story always sucks, okay? Whenever you try to like wokeify these shows, make every single character the shining beacon of a rainbow perfectness, it's just not realistic. And the whole point of cinema and showing all these things is to show realistic characters, right? We're all flawed in some way. Anyways, that's it. Click this video. I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.